would say to Taoiseach that, first of all, these are specific double taxation agreements, and they don't perhaps relate to the broader debate in terms of international and global taxation models. But I would put it that there is a need for a comprehensive debate in this House, and I've asked for it before the summer recess, because there does seem to be a determined effort to undermine Ireland's ability to have an independent taxation regime which is fully in compliance with international tax law. And I would have to say that we can't sort out the world on our own. And I've witnessed over the years, for example, the prevarication in relation to climate change and the inability of the global world and global countries to sign off on copper-fast agreements in terms of climate change. So how are we to sort of anticipate that the same is going to happen in terms of a very tight and equally applicable global taxation regime? And if that is the case, then I think we need to be careful how we proceed, because there's 166,000 people work in multinational companies in Ireland. That's a reality. And some deputies tend to ignore that in any contribution they make to this subject. They just ignore it. There are 4,200 people working in Apple in Cork City and have been there since 1981. Good quality jobs. Small businesses get a lot from the multinational companies in Ireland in terms of bioscience, in terms of life sciences, in terms of servicing those, instrumentation. There's a whole raft of industries have flown from that multinational investment. So it's a bit more complex and a bit more subtle than sometimes it is presented to in this House. And we need to be careful. The OECD is an important body, but it doesn't have international jurisdiction, actually. It's an advisory body. It can make recommendations. It can do research. But I'm somewhat conscious of the fact, and even surprised, of late it's become the stormtrooper. It's become the stormtroopers now for the G20 countries. Yep. And just because some of them are strapped for cash now, it's not our fault that the United States have a tax regime that it decides to have. And that allows, and it does its deals. It does its deals with China. It'll do its deals with Japan. It'll do its deals with Asia, just like many other countries will do. Okay. So the point I'm making is this. We may have to reform, but do we do it on our own, oblivious to the actual realities of the global economic model and the global economic world? Whether we like it or whether we do not like it. And there's much I dislike about it, I'd have to say, in terms of globalisation itself and in terms of wage rates across the world, the absence of any conformity with health and safety, and the lack of any adherence to consumer rights. But let's introduce the dose of realism to this debate. And I, Taoiseach, would put it to you that Prime Minister Cameron was out of order at a Conservative Party conference to have a cut off Ireland. He was completely out of Ireland. Okay, please. Because Prime Minister, I want to call the Taoiseach. Prime Minister Cameron, let's be under no illusions, all Prime Minister Cameron wants is our jobs. He wants the 166,000 jobs that are in this country. He wants them in the United Kingdom. He wants Apple Computer in the United Kingdom. And the reason the anti-inversion laws in the United States are motivated by the British moves in recent times, such as the patent box, for example, which the Commission is also investigating. So, like, the British government needs to look at its own house before it starts lecturing Ireland. And Taoiseach, I hope you give that message to Prime Minister Cameron in no uncertain terms. So I have no difficulty. Sorry, Deputy Martin, in fairness, this is a brief contribution. I'm opposing Deputy Higgins' proposition. I would allow this to go through, Taoiseach, on the basis that we would have a comprehensive debate on the overall issue of the international tax regime, the global tax situation, our strategy in responding to the most recent OECD measures and the moves of the G20, and where all that's going to head, because we need to keep a cautious head about us. It's a Commission opinion. There's a long road to travel. Let's not just accept everything with absolute acquiescence that's thrown out there.